We are for a cause, not necessarily votes, but I think this is a national cause that our people who have been marginalized for a long time can be included so that they also enjoy being citizens of this country. Honorable Chair, my prayer would be I want to thank you for the opportunity given to me. My prayer would have been that I would have led a few members of this committee, but prior information that I had is that they had interfaced with you on earlier, but I thought for the benefit of the committee members, it would have been proper if I was given an opportunity that I could have a few of them be represented here.
What do you mean, a few of the community members?
Yes.
Now, just to let you know, this committee is planning to go to Kiriadong.
Oh, that's
and meet the leaders there, meet the people surrounding them, and to know whether they don't have problems with them. And through you, we shall need to have whether they have a leader in the association or the clan or the tribe.
Okay.
So,
thank you.
When you do your part,
thank you.
We shall eventually, and you will lead us in that.
Please. That was my prayer, and I'm happy that you have granted it. I look forward to hosting it Chiriandongo and meet these wonderful people.
And we will do this month.
Please, I am a call away, and I look forward to that so that I can be able to organize for that meeting. Honourable members and chair, as the bill is before you, this community, the Maragoli people, through many correspondences, have asked Parliament that they could be considered as one of the indigenous tribes of this country. Having come to Uganda way back in the 19th century.
President Obiama, I recognize you. And since this is a member of Parliament, I skipped the introduction part, hoping that we know each other. This is the Honorable Jack Odur, a member of Parliament from
Chibanda South constituency.
Chibanda South, where they are Maragoli.
Yes.
People who eventually came from Kenya, and they are now just like you. You came from Zimbabwe, now you're in Ugiri. So all me from Egypt.
I came from Kenya also.
Yes,
I am happy I have one of the supporters now that. So, Honourable Chair.
So introduce the bill.
Yes.
Go into the object of the bill and justify the bill. And go into the.
Thank you, Chair. We're on the Constitutional Amendment Bill number 20, which Constitutional Amendment number 3 Bill 2020, and the object of the bill is this. The object of the bill is to amend the third schedule to the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda in accordance with Article 259 and 262 of the Constitution to include the Maragoli, who settled in Uganda in the 19th century as one of the Uganda's indigenous community as at 1st February 1926. Provisions of the bill. The bill seeks to amend the third schedule to the Constitution to provide for the Maragoli as one of Uganda's indigenous communities as at 1st February 1926. Procedure for the amendment of the third schedule to the Constitution. The procedure of amending the third schedule of the Constitution is by Parliament through a bill for an act of Parliament supported at the second and third reading by the votes of not less than 2/3 of all members of Parliament as provided for by Article 262 of the Constitution. The bill of the entitlement of the bill, the Constitutional Amendment number 3 Act an act to amend the third schedule of the Constitution in accordance with the Article 259 and 262 of the Constitution to provide for the Maragoli as one of Uganda's indigenous communities as at 1st February 1926 be enacted by Parliament as follows. Amendment of the third schedule to the Constitution. The third schedule of the Constitution is amended by inserting immediately after paragraph 53 following 53A Maragoli.
So it's a brief amendment.
Yes.
So is there any additional background information you want to give?
Well, the background information, Honorable Chair and colleagues, is that the justification of this is that this was a marginalized group that has been here since that time, 1903, when they came the construction of the Uganda Railway. The bilateral correspondences that the Mukam of Bunyoro had, and the people of Kenya, the Maragoli, who had the invitation to come and settle in Uganda. Since then, these people have been here, and it's a very big community. Settled in, actually, my brother here, Honorable, who comes from Bukiri, might be knowing some who are in Kayunga. They cut across the Busoga region. They joined Bunyoro because of almost the similar dialect. Yes, if you dig the yes. So they crossed from there and settled in. Yeah, you never know. Yes, and the honorable members, I want to tell you that you said I didn't make it because of this. Probably true, because they think they have been marginalized, and those even who have been assimilated feel still they are not comfortable to be called so because of the intermarriages that has taken. You can imagine from 1903 when these people came with the railroad construction, and in 1926 when the Mukam of Bunyoro invited them. So the intermarriage has gone on, but they want the identity as Maragoli. And yes, so honorable members, I pray that this bill is considered. These are our brothers and sisters, and as also we look forward for the East African integration. These people, we have these cross-border movements that allow, and as we have heard, we are part and parcel of the East African community. It's my prayer that our brothers you find it fitting that these people are considered as indigenous, because they cannot go back to Kenya. They have nowhere to live in Kenya. So they are part and parcel of us, and we must settle this problem once and for all. Because they have been marginalized, they cannot transact business, they cannot have identity cards. The identity card problem was there, and they wanted them to be, they call it what? Being nationalized?
Yes.
And they objected to that because nationalization meant for people who came yesterday who would want to go in that. But they are part and parcel of this community, and I pray that this committee finds it befitting that they are considered. And like you've guided, Mr. Chair, Honorable Chair, sorry, I pray that you come and visit them. Although because of the standing operating procedures that are there, we may not have a very big crowd, but we can have series of 2 meetings in the community so that they can also pour or add flesh on what I'm talking about, Honorable Chair.
That's right.
I thank you so much, Chair.
Thank you. This is the shortest constitution amendment. When you look at the third schedule, to insert 53A, it will be immediately after Madi, the tribe called Madi. Third schedule is where we have all listed Ugandans, indigenous communities. They're not called tribes. Tribes are for primitive people. So, yeah, but these are under Ugandan constitution. I come from the community of the Japadola. And one of you is from Bafumbira number 8.
Yeah.
Yes. So these are communities, not tribes. And I like the Constituent Assembly delegates. They decided to call us communities, not tribes. So, members?
Yeah.
Yes, Honorable Chair, Vice Chair?
Yes, thank you, Honorable Chairman. I would like to support this amendment, this bill, on two grounds. One, that given the time these people came to this country, they fit into the description of what indigenous tribe, indigenous community should be. I have two questions to ask. One, in 1995, when this constitution was being made, was that brought up? Was that request brought up? My second observation and question is, now that there is no Malgoli tribe or community, sorry about the tribe, there is no Malgoli community as of now. What do they call themselves? What do they call you? Do people have national identity cards? And national identity cards under which community they register themselves? Thank you.
Okay, and for the record, a copy of Certificate of Financial Implication dated 7th July 2020 was attached to the bill. And I tell you, there is no such a clear endorsement than I've gotten from Minister of Finance. Said these people should be allowed. There's no financial whatsoever, savings or revenues. Yes, Honorable Kamba?
Thank you, Chair. I'd like to know from the mover of the bill whether these people, as he refers them to be called, own land. Yes.
Own land.
Yes. And if so, in which form? Because the 1995 Constitution is very clear as to the ownership of land, and in the Land Act describes who should have which interest in land. Do they have, for instance, a minor land or freehold, leasehold? In which form? Or customary. And if so, I would like to know why are they finding it a problem to be in their status that they have been with since 2019, 29 or 26.
Which status?
Before 19, 26.
So continue being as Abasense, Bagwira.
That's why I want to know.
Aliens.
That's why I want to know. Do they own land just like any other Ugandan?
Okay. Chair has understood. You've understood?
Yes.
Yes. Honorable Edward McMahon Oto.
Yes, I thank you,
The
Chair.
man himself from Magellan. Yeah.
Thank you, Chair. I'm glad you even know Adilang. I think we are not marginalized. Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Chair, for this opportunity, and my friend, colleague, for this proposed amendment. Chair, I know that we are still at the stage of interrogation, and whether I support it or not is something that probably I'll address my mind when I have more information. But at this point in time, Chair, I'm wondering, I've been joking with my friend here that I like the way they are very specific on as to when the Maragoli came to Uganda. They have a specific date, 1st February 1926. And I think he also says that it was through an invitation of the then King Kabalega. I'm wondering.
He said they came around about the
1903.
1903.
Yes.
Because
Then
the railway was 1902.
yes.
Yes.
They came around 1903 to build the railway. Then eventually they were invited in about that time by the Kabaleg. I guess that's how they end up in that side of the country. Chair, my question is whether there are some reference, because for these dates, really, there are books that are written that talk about this. I know this is way back, and I guess the question of indigenous is obviously if they came back then, I can see where it's coming from. So
It comes from their family.
then the other issue is, of course, if there are documents, then when you talk of being marginalized, if you could also highlight on that aspects of marginalization, that really should be of concern to the committee.
That's a brilliant.
Thank you. I'll rest there.
Yes. Honorable Maragolian from Bulgaria.
Mr. Chairman, I thank you so much. And I also thank the Honorable for pushing through the interests of the marginalized Maragoli. I have three issues, Mr. Chairman, to raise. Number one is that Uganda has a fairly large population of what I would call immigrant communities from various parts of Africa. These people have been here, they have lived with us, and in Uganda, for example, the socialization has gone to the level of even adopting clans and totems. So you'll find a person like Singh, the former MP of Rubaga, is Singh Katongole. Uhuru is Nsubuga, and the others. That kind of socialization. Now, the idea to demand for recognition as a minority has the potential of breaking that socialization. So wouldn't it be better for communities like these ones, the migrant communities, to socialize, integrate, and be part of the existing indigenous communities, rather than advocating for recognition as minorities? Because already they are living in harmony with the others. Is an MP, and when he was elected, I don't think anybody considered the fact that maybe he comes from a minority community.
And I think you're raising something, Honorable Member of the Amendment. For the record here, you need to state which indigenous community you come from. Because from where I'm seeing, are you just one of them, or?
No. On record, I'm not one of them.
Okay.
I'm just the representative who have interest in the.
Very good. Okay. Very good. But Mr. Chairman, the point I raised is the need to promote socialization and integration with the indigenous communities. That in itself will even do away this imaginary marginalization that we speak about. So I don't know whether that is something he has thought about deeply for purposes of entrenching the socialization and integration. Don't you think that question would be very key when we meet the leadership of these communities?
I would also have
Chairman, you remind me to ask it, because I am busy with things you know. So in case I forget. I'm glad you reduced me to a bad boy. So yeah, part of the reason why you are chair is your ability to remind. Yeah. Honorable jokes aside, what Honorable Asman is saying is related to what Otogia said. What are the nature of the marginalization that is prompting them to be recognized as Maragoli. So that's where you have your case for justification. I have to check for you exam. If there is not, why not choose particular tribe land? And then, if already they are chosen and gotten assimilated, don't you think this amendment will distort?
Mr. Chairman, I had not completed. I had not completed.
Okay.
But maybe in Bujiri, we have communities, migrant communities, the Valaro. I understand they settled in Bujiri very many years ago. Now, when I came of age, I saw them attending our clan meetings. Then my grandfather told us, Abobaise Mususwa, my clan, the Mususwa clan. And they are there. When I am contesting, they are always the first to say, our clan is a man. But these are Balalo. But Vice Mususwa. And they are more recognized as Vice Mususwa than as Balalo. But in terms of physical complexion, they are completely very different from us. They look like my childhood friend, Amoding here.
What does the clan mean? Vice Mususwa?
The name of the clan is Mususwa.
So that was the first person.
Yes.
Mususwa should be a first clan.
Yes, and actually I am Basari Rwasman Mususwa. That's my clan name.
You wait when you become president, you bring all
I'll bring that one. But finally, Mr. Chairman, usually migrant communities always suffer from, the more they recognize them as minorities, it is actually them that invite discrimination on their side. But along the way, they also suffer from loyalty challenges. Loyalty challenges. Where does your loyalty lie? Especially when there is conflict. Mr. Chair, me and you live at the border.
That's all.
You know how the Samia of Uganda and the Samia of Kenya behave when there is conflict.
That's true.
There is always a loyalty challenge. So my call to my colleague and the community is to really, rather than advocating for recognition, is to advocate for socialization and integration. I thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, Honorable Vice.
What I was wondering, do you for one to qualify, be part of Schedule 3,
Schedule 3, yes.
3, you have to be mandatory. You can qualify.
Actually, Constitution is, yeah, that's a fundamental question. That isn't it as of a right? Why should you say they are marginalized? Marginalization could be just one of the grounds. So you're cheating for your exam.
Chair, just an addition, maybe what they have said, that what all this, I think, begs the question, some sort of yardstick or criteria or threshold for actually getting to this scale. Because, interestingly, when I can say I'm an actual.
No,
but within our community, even in Agago, there are people who call themselves different communities. They actually where this Gilles the matters are. Those guys who are massacred, the Okelo, Gilles these people, and even the languages, De La Mobi, so at the end of the day, the question in my mind is, when do you then say, no, I'm not from the Chuli community, I am from a different community altogether? Because these things are there. The so-called clans can easily end up being. We saw what happened in Buganda when they were trying to recognize another. So for me, I think the question for the committee is, at the end of the day, when we go into this, are we opening a floodgate? At what point do we say, yes, I think you fit to be in Schedule 3?
How about this question of Honorable Vice Chair? Is it a question that you must be
it is a relevant question.
Right?
It's a I think it is an entitlement.
Yes. Oh, there's a Muiru there.
We will debate on it.
This Muiru should tell us what is name on Muiru and in Musoka.
Mr. Chairman, thank you so much. I'm a member of the private member here. I should have been seated there. That's why I was restraining myself from
No, you're speaking as a member.
But since I'm speaking as a member, Mr. Chairman, something was running through my mind about the sovereignty of this country. Not many years back, we allowed this and put some tribe in the constitution. But Uganda was almost going at war with our neighbors. And the question of loyalty was a very big question. And some of us were...
For the record, can you clarify on which tribe was that? If your memory would help you.
Mr. Chairman, it is in the constitution, in the schedule. The Ugandan people, by now, Mr. Chairman, I was seeking indulgence that
You are
you
not
go.
judiciary. What are you?
The last amendment, I remember, it brought in about 6 tribes or communities.
They were the Ugandan Banyarwanda. So when we were almost at war, I had issues. I kept on asking myself, so where is loyalty going to be? Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I was wondering, where is loyalty going to be? And because we have socialized, incorporated, intermarried, of course, we left it to God at that point. I'm seeing, Mr. Chairman, I'm wondering whether they cannot apply for dual citizenship, like in this case, so they don't lose. So there's traceability. They don't lose what they have, than wanting to be absolved within here. I have somehow, from a very patriotic point of view, so maybe we'll clarify on those issues.
Okay. I think let's allow the member to clarify. And, yes, you spoke already.
I'd also like to know whether there are some members of the Maragoli community who have ever applied for passports, whether the government of Uganda issues passports to them.
Yeah. First is related to what you asked, land ownership. Do they own any? A short one. How would you that?
Thank you. I just
Find out. She's on the floor. Sorry.
thank you very much. I just wanted to follow on Honorable Basalira's lead. At the moment, from you, Honorable, what, after so many years of residing in Uganda and among the community where you come from, which is Bunyoro, have they kept their language? Have they assimilated with the Banyoro or other communities? What do they speak currently? What is their dialect?
Okay. What you wanted to say? Yes?
Maybe what will help our friend clarify those issues is to highlight what are the grounds usually people rely on to say we're different communities, we have different culture, we speak different language, we are different. Maybe some of those basic grounds can help.
Is their current
And to allay our fears on those who have done social integration, this amendment is not going to force anybody to come back to be a Maragol if you've been assimilated or you interpreted as a Japadori. This amendment is not saying those who have done this, so that is, I have to support this Maragoli.
Yes. Now, Honorable Chair, from that point, the marginalization we're talking about is that they are seen not to be part of Uganda being an indigenous community in Uganda. The reason why they were denied identity cards, even those who had sneaked to be assimilated, their cards were confiscated. That is how bad the situation is. They say, this one is Mr. Akamba. No, we know him, we know the father. Sorry. Okay. Sorry if it offends my honorable colleague.
Or remove the ear and say Kamba.
So,
The reason that I should say it, for obvious reason, in this constituency, there was a Kamba bus alighting from Kenya.
Yes.
So in his constituency, because of his name, they said he's not a Musoga. So they said he's a Kenyan. So now having a constitution and
Fine. I withdraw that statement. I withdraw the statement. Yeah, Honorable Chair, the issue. Yes, the issue is that we reached that extent that even those, because they could not get these social services, even those who tried to sneak to get those identifications, they were denied them because the community perceives them as Maragoli, and therefore they cannot. Those even at a certain time in their marriage, some are refused to be married because they don't have identities. Yes. Yes. So they say, are you a beautiful person or a good woman? But who are you? And therefore you are not recognized.
But I have had opportunity to interact with them. They are wonderful people. Some of you in the mind, you think they are either pygmies or what. I mean, we shall go there. Pygmies are wonderful.
Yes. So just to go through the queries.
Yes, deciding for us.
Not with insight.
You have been disarmed here by Honorable Vitaka. When I just said they are wonderful people, they are not pygmies. But Honorable Vitaka twisted it and he said even the pygmies are really wonderful people. Yeah, that's why they are called
very well.
pygmies.
So these are wonderful people indeed. And Vice Chair Honorable Tango had asked whether this Maragoli community had put in a request in the formation of the 1995 Constitution. The records that I have here right now, I see they started way back. They put it through their MP at that time, who was Honorable Kaija, who came in the Constituent Assembly.
Oh.
Yes.
You have some right here?
Right here, no, I don't have it, but I have it offhand.
Okay.
Yes. So they put their request, but because still of the marginalization, being a group that is not well indigenous, and even coming to Bunyoro alone was, they would not accept them the way they were because they had already come. So it is said, but that should be off record, that was not moved because they didn't want. They thought they would be taking the part of their land, and when they become indigenous, they will take their land. So it was somehow, that's the marginalization I'm talking about. Then, do they have IDs? They don't have. That's why even the Honorable Ronda Nyakairima, the Minister of Internal Affairs at that time, the request was put to them. They said, you call it what? Integrate, and then you call yourselves other names, tribes. It was not possible. So these people, that's why it is very urgent that this bill has long been overdue, and I pray that your indulgence. Passports.
What's the population size?
The population size, because they cut across, like I said, from Soga, where they are in Kayunga, Masindi, they are in about 4 districts. But I am talking about, because when you talk about them, yes.
No.
No. I said Kayunga, that is Chiriandongo, Masindi, Hoima, Ulisa. I said they cut. Kayunga is in what? Buganda. Okay. I thank you for the correction. So the population is about the stretches. When they did their statistics. When they did the population study at that time, there were about 30,000 people.
Wow.
Yes, 30,000 people, and the majority of which stay in the Bunyoro region because of the closer language with the Banyoro. The Luya, there are some words that when they speak from the other side, you can also hear from the other tribe. I have it here written. Omuntu. It's a Bantu thing. It's a Muntu. Yes. So there are few some connections that within the language that they would get and understand the language.
They are Bantu.
Yeah, they are in the Bantu. Yeah. Then Honorable Kamba asked, do they own land? Just like other Ugandans, the way you own land, you sit there, you don't have. But for them to be particular in my area of constituency, they were given that land by the Mukama. It is a settlement.
Yeah.
So even know that this is their area. Cutting across from Chigumba, you cut across to Bwijanga, you go to Ntoma. They have specific settlements that the Mukama had given them.
Like a sub-county?
Yes, the whole
parish?
yes, a parish form. They move from one parish to another, and it is well known that this is their place. Yes, so that's how they own land, but with no documentation. They only rely on the piece of paper that the Mukama had given them. So they don't have any substantiality in terms of ownership of it.
Even now the doctrine of laches and now the time spent there, you know.
Yeah, would give them a bona fide occupation, but you see they are not Ugandans.
You've answered it.
Yes, thank you so much. Then how they find of course there is a very big problem. Who are they? They don't have identity. Actually, they want to have the identity. That's why they are asking Parliament to consider them as one of the indigenous Ugandans. There's a very big problem. They cannot access all these social services because today, for you to access social services, you need an identity card. For you to transact business, you need who are you? So they are there. They are in the world.
So they don't have phones?
Phones. No, they have to. Now, you see the way, of course, if somebody if somebody close this door, we will all suffocate and close, we shall forget, but we shall try to break. So what they do is they borrow. They not even borrow IDs. They use, yes, they borrow IDs, they attach these letters, and then they say it is for son. So that's how they are managed. But life is so difficult for them. Then Honorable Makumot asked documentation. Yes, that's why I said this meeting was so abrupt for me. The documentation in regard to where they came from and how they settled and how they came, that one we can find on the ground, Honorable Member.
So are you, in effect, undertaking to provide some additional...
Yes, additional information. By the time we get to the ground, I will have gotten them. Then Honorable Basalirwa, social integration. Yes, the social integration can be there, but it also has limits. I want to marry you, but you don't have what talks about you. Who are you? So it becomes a problem. Others have even refused. They keep to themselves in a cocoon that these are Maragoli. They go for their Maragoli. A few who do that, they. No, yeah, it does, because you see, if it is a requirement for you to go to church and present yourself as a documentation that who are you?
Clarification through you, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
Honorable colleagues, if really there are concerns of that nature, the Constitution is not short of options. You can be a Ugandan through 4 ways. Through 4 ways. And I don't think anybody, especially those who have been here for that time, they could adopt any of the options provided under the Constitution to become Ugandans.
But you heard him say they rejected.
No, I don't think. I don't think they rejected, because
given what he has described, the information he has provided, there is no way they could be rejected to be registered as.
No, but by law,
They are the ones who don't want to be by naturalization.
Exactly.
yes, because but the constitution. What does the constitution?
This is the path we should be advising
The
them.
problem,
Oh,
they
we will
should
advise them to take the chairman when you remind me.
I will remind you when we are there.
Yes.
I hope you have 5 stones.
Inshallah,
Utilize the existing law.
Supplementary for Mr. Oman. Are you about to conclude?
Honorable Chair, if these people have 4 options and they have rejected them not wanting to be integrated as Ugandans, we want to formalize them as what? Because I thought there would be a community living in Uganda, but as a Ugandan community.
yes.
Once but you have said they rejected.
No. Naturalization.
The other options, Honorable Chair, the other options is that a person who was found in this tutorial place by that time, and
1922,
yes,
1st February,
yes.
26.
Actually, that's their major
When the
concern.
boundary was established.
So they are demanding this not only in the social aspect, but they also by law. That's why they become marginalized, because at that time they were here.
So they became Ugandans by naturalization.
But even by birth, they will be, because most of them are born here. See? So that's the case. They are a community, yes.
But sure, the problem was that when we finish that, now they also they want to recognize as a king.
No. That's not. No. So anyway, Honorable Chair, I think I need your prediction here.
But you say, is that illegal? Is that unconstitutional for any community in this country to recognize?
Seek their leadership.
Yeah. By the way, what we are mixing is a psychological need of everybody. The most important need in every person is identity recognition.
And dignity.
We are what we are. If you call me by another name or another identity, I get offended. There is a book which is Identity Security, an American author, and the identity crisis. That if we don't take it heavily, those people, even if some of them have died, but very unhappy because they are not recognized.
We do the identity crisis, so.
I shall investigate you. Not from
So, Honorable, yes.
Clarification, Honorable Chair.
Yes.
Honorable Chair, in the case of the Banyarwanda community in Uganda.
You were not here when the Honorable. Okay, go ahead.
He was here. We recognize that they are Ugandans who speak in Rwanda. But it seems to me that these Maragoli do not want to be identified as Ugandans. They want to be identified as a community, a foreign community living in Uganda.
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because that's the reason.
On that one, there is a difference I could educate.
Yeah, there's a big difference.
Because those people, by the time in 1911, when Uganda was added to, or became Uganda, those Banyarwanda were in Uganda. Okay? This Maragoli is different. For them, they came from elsewhere. But they are in Uganda by 1936.
So, question.
They want to
Do they want to be recognized as Kenyan Maragoli community
No.
in Uganda?
No.
Can I finish?
Yes,
I
you're
make my
protected.
question clear. Or do they want to be recognized as now a community, a Ugandan community?
That's right.
Which, okay.
Yes, that is the
That's why we are here, Madam. Yes, I want to. Madam had asked me whether they have kept. Actually, before Madam was asking about reality. They wouldn't be. Their reality is to Uganda. That's why they are fighting. Because in Kenya, if there is a tribe called So, they are there. They are not bothered. They would have kept going there. But for the reality, that's the reason why they are so much interested in being recognized as one of the communities of Uganda. So the reality is pledged on being Uganda. There's nothing that they want to put reality of being a community in Kenya and then they are Kenyans living in Uganda. No, that's a different story. Madam, the last one came from Madam, and she was asking whether they have kept their language and culture. Oh, yes.
What is her name?
Oh, yes.
Honorable Febru.
Sorry,
No problem. You want to introduce ourselves? We told the
Okay.
There is no madam here.
Honorable Madam Veronica. Thank you for the correction.
correct the impression that other the media others would think that she's your madam. So
Thank you for your guidance, Chair. So, Madam Honorable Veronica asked that question, and it's very pertinent. Like we had said before, the Maragoli people are very interesting people with their culture and language, and they have kept it.
Demonstrate to us one of the unique cultures.
When you come, Honorable Chair, I beg you will see they will demonstrate themselves because I'm not.
Are you related to them?
No, I'm not related to them at all. Purely, I am doing my mandate as their representative in Parliament. I have no strings attached to any of that, but I look at that they are fit to be Ugandans. Thank you, Chair, for giving this opportunity.
And more so, after not being re-elected and you're still moving, when other people are moving back.
No. I'm about that. I'm for a national cause and
whether they have a leader.
Oh yes, they have their leadership.
Culture.
Actually, not culture. In the movement to be recognized as Ugandans. Okay. If you share the correspondences that we sent to this committee, you will find that they have so they have their committee.
Yes, they've come to Parliament, they've met the Speaker, they've gone to government agencies, they've done their lobbying. The only work remaining is for this community, this committee to say aye.
And I want to thank you, Chair, on that note that the members of this committee are very good people, and I think they will really be part of the Maragoli, and they will be put in history that they did.
After we visit.
Thank you, Chair.
Yeah, what will depend, I think the question that I expected ourselves to ask you is what are other people, other communities around them? We cannot just insert them in a constitution when the Maragoli community, other people, the Banyoro, the others who are around them, they don't like them. Yeah. So that's why we shall not invite just segments. We shall need to go and interface. But if you as a leader, do you think they relate well? Or they are witches, they have practices which are not...
Chair, that's a very good question. The Maragoli people, like we have said, I would not withdraw myself that they are wonderful people. They have existed with the other
because the wonder could be because of the bad things they do.
No. They are good people. They have
and that's twig meats.
They relate very well. They relate very well with the other communities. And that's why you can imagine how they are living.
But maybe you may ask, is it a condition? Is it a condition how you relate, or it's your entitlement?
Is it a minority right here?
No, I think it is.
No, he's supporting you.
Yes.
He's supporting you. That regardless of how I relate with my neighbors, if I have to be recognized, you have to recognize me.
That's true. But also, the relation also is also good.
That's right.
Why they will not be supported in any event that the question that will be tagged.
So in case we went there and asked the leaders around them and the leaders within them, that do you like these people? Yeah. Do you support them to be recognized as Ugandans, indigenous community?
Yes, I was coming to that.
Yeah.
And in a cosmopolitan area like Bunyoro, there is you will find it. I may say it here, but you will also find it. That there has always been, somebody brought about the issue of Tororo. I'm sorry, before you came in chair.
You don't have to apologize about Tororo.
Off record, okay. And I just want to give an example.
That is my chair, and I respect Yes.
Were you biting my back?
Yes, I was.
So, Honorable Chair, these people are good. And the beauty with it is that in our place, regardless of the ethnicities that we have, we speak Swahili.
Oh, really?
So it has kept us united because it's a cosmopolitan area and it allows, the only way you can communicate is through Swahili. So
Really?
the other people have preserved their culture.
Which part of Bunyoro?
The whole of Masidi Chiliando, we speak Swahili for communication.
Oh, really?
That's the only place we speak Swahili throughout. Whether you're a politician or not a politician, you're going to buy something, it is Swahili.
So naelewa Kiswahili vizuri?
Najaribu.
Oh.
Ile ya kuumba chakula na maji.
You safid.
Asante.
Yeah.
So, Honorable Chair, that's a very fundamental question, but Swahili has also helped us. Swahili has also helped us.
Yes,
to keep
that's
united.
our national second.
For us, we are ahead. By the time we put
Official
it into
language,
place,
yeah.
put it into practice, our people are really ahead and they speak Swahili. And
That's a great influence.
Yes. Thank you, Chair.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, members. I want to thank the honorable member for coming on short notice. We found you prepared. We shall be glad that you work with our secretariat here, the clerk and the team, that you give all other relevant documentations that you have as a mover, because we want to capture them for our record, for the report writing. Secondly, we work out for dates that are convenient for the committee and yourself so that we can arrange to have a scientific meeting there. Only people who can give us, we don't need people with neckties, but we want people who have the information we need. So we shall also adopt and design who are the kind of people we shall meet in the different categories. We don't want to meet only politicians who are looking at people as voters. We want to look at the neighbors who are sharing boundaries with these people. If they overwhelm us that these are bad people, I can tell you that it's our duty to protect Ugandans against any invasion. So thank you very much. We get back to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Honorable Chair.
Kwaheri.
Asante.
Fika salama. Yeah. Our next Omweni
But I
is
still have my questions, Chairman.
your question will never cease.
What are they now?
We've discussed. Yes.
That's a very good question.
Yes.
The reason we're here is that question to be answered. Right now, there are people who are with no identity.
Yeah, that's painful.
Who were here before 1956?
Yes.
Who were here before
And the
1956?
Honorable Chair,
The Constitution said that.
yes. You see, the mover in the 1995 Constitution
Left them out.
they left out, and because of the same political reasons. And that's the reason, and that's why we're here.
And this is, the 1995 is what brought in the issue of third schedule listing communities.
Yes.
I was surprised by somebody this morning asking me about indigenous community number 14, Bahehe. That who are they? I said, please, go and ask the Maragoli. They want, so,
Honorable Chair, Vice Chair, that's a very fundamental question, and because they are also there.
Yeah, if they were here before 1926,
Yes. So
there
the
you
challenge
can.
was,
Yes.
The only thing that is left is
is to
to
insert
fashion them.
Yes.
much obliged.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Our next witness is Dominic from when?